Okay, we are back. We are back. Sorry, the beats messed up a little bit there, but we got it working. And we've got Dub FX on the phone with us. What's good? Are you with us?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I actually literally just walked in the door from doing a gig.
That's awesome. Where are you at right now?
I'm in Cluj-Napoca, which is in Romania.
Wow. That's an interesting name.
Yeah, last night, or the night before last, I was in Montreal. I did a show in Montreal, and then I slept. I did the night over on the plane, and then came over and did this show.
Nice. And you were just in Toronto as well, right, at the Opera House?
That's right.
How was that?
That was awesome. That was one of my favorite Canada shows. Possibly, actually. It was just such a good vibe, and it was a good room. It was a really nice big room. And
yeah, no, it's
really
such a beautiful spot. Yeah, Opera House there.
The Montreal at the Belmont was really nice and intimate. I really liked that one. It was very intimate. The Opera House had more of an epic vibe to it. It was just a bit bigger, but they were both awesome. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no, definitely. Opera House is really good. I've performed there a couple of times, and it's just really cool. They got like the big balcony in the back there, and then just like a really wide open spot where people can just vibe out. So I'm glad you had a good time there.
It's also a nice big stage, which allows Cade to sort of bounce around a bit more and get a bit more, into it. But yeah.
That's good. So you had Cade with you?
Yep, Cade. Yeah, my bro.
That's good. What's that like touring with him?
Well, man, I've known the guy since I was 15.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, we were best mates from the moment we kind of met each other at school. He came to my high school, and we he was like, I play the drums, and I'm like, I play the guitar. No one else in my school played music, really. And then we just started jamming at lunch times, and we started writing songs and hanging out, and we got into other bands together, and we basically hung out through music for years. We had we didn't stop making music. When I started doing Dub FX, I kind of left the band I was in with him, and I went off and started Dub FX on my own, when I went street performing for 2 years, and then I called him back. I was like, dude, this shit looks like it could go somewhere, and so he joined on and started managing, and now it's like, we ain't looked back. He killed it.
No, definitely. He's got a wicked flow. That No Rest for the Wicked tune that you guys did that's out there, that his flow on that one is ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Also, Supernova Pilot, he kills. That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that's another one too. I think he performed that last time when he was here in Toronto. It was really dope.
Yeah.
No, that's good. And what's it like as well? I know you last time you were here in Toronto, you had Flower Fairy with you. What's that like touring with her?
Well, we toured together for 7 years, from pretty much when I started doing Dub FX, within a month or so, I met her and she started flower fairying with me. And, so we would by each other's side doing every single tour together pretty much from then on. That was 2006, so... now this year she's decided to take a back seat, and she could, she wants to sing, but I think she wants to do something herself, because I've always kind of pushed her into the music, and that her passion's more like nutrition and health coaching and that sort of stuff. That's what she does for me most of the time. So this year she's studying and she's just at home and nesting.
That's great though. That's good that you have somebody there to kind of push you in a good positive direction, especially when it comes to, food and nutrition and health, because that's really important, and it's something neglected a lot in our society today, I think.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, we live in the forest and we get fresh spring water. It just so happened when we moved into this place in the forest, there was a spring, like an old famous spring that Australian Aboriginals would go and collect water, for centuries, and we just happened to be like half a kilometre away from it. So that's awesome. We fill that up, and I get the good air out there, and then 2 months at home, 2 months out on the road, 2 months at home, and
That's nice. That's definitely good. What's it like, being back at home and having the, the ancestry of the land as you were explaining with that water spot?
Well, it's pretty neglected over there. No one really pays any attention to it. Australia's it's sort of like the rest of the world. It's very commercialized, and there's not a lot of that being spoken about between people. I barely know anything about Aboriginal culture. I mean, I know some stuff, but I don't know any Aboriginal people that I could actually go and talk to. I mean, I probably could find some, but I don't know. It's just it's quite a forgotten kind of thing out there. And I totally tap into the land, and I can sort of see, I can visualize what it would have been like back in the day. But yeah, it's a beautiful look. It's a beautiful countryside. Take away the buildings, and it's a paradise.
For sure. No, we definitely have the same thing here, though, in Canada, with the First Nation people that were here. Like the way that they've been treated and kind of like boxed aside, and that whole part of our history is kind of like not spoken about much. It's not taught in schools. You know what I mean? It's like you said, forgotten. And
it's a real shame.
It is.
So, it's kind of really arrogant, I think, actually. But I guess it just means we have to just take the initiative to go out and do that stuff as well. And, you know, people do as well, and they spread it through in different ways, you know. Like, you can spread the same type of consciousness. I mean, obviously go back and learn about it, but there's morals of what those people talked about back in the day, of just getting back to basics and just living with the nature, and not being a predator, but just being part of the cycle, part of the system, you know, because that's what we all die with it. You know, if you're a vegetarian and you die, you know, you're still going to get eaten by shit. So it's like, it's all one big system or whatever. So like, I don't know, and I kind of try to tap into that kind of ancient mindset, you know, where people were just, I don't know, organic and real.
Yes, more tapped into the nature for sure, and more able to create a sustainable environment for themselves and their families and future generations, whereas now there's nothing really that's sustainable out there. Everything seems to be destroying, cutting down, deforestation. It's you know, a lot of pollution, and it's really bad. So it's good that you're, you know, on that front of trying to bring that stuff back and getting people to realize it.
Well, the thing is, you know, like, at the end of the day, I can't control society in any way, but I just try to add a positive spin on things, you know, in my music or in the songs or whatever, and like, just kind of make people. My whole point is, like, rather than trying to teach people how to be enlightened or anything like that, it's more. I'm not good enough to do that. I just want to sing about just kind of being true to yourself, which in turn kind of gets you to that level anyway. I'm sorry to here.
Knowledge of self.
Exactly.
Very, very key and important. One thing I was talking to the people about before, something that I feel is not talked about at all in like mainstream media or anything like that, is dreams. The dream world. How like when we go to sleep at night, we enter this like crazy alternate universe and dimension sometimes that it feels like, where we learn stuff, we experience things, and that's never seemed to be talked about too much in the mainstream. Do you dream at night?
Well, you know, like, it depends how conscious I am during the day, or how busy I am, or stressed I am. But like, yeah, definitely I'd have dreams and stuff. I wouldn't say I have like profound dreams that are like, you know, every time or anything like that. But I guess to me, it's like it's your mind kind of sharpening your reaction time to things, I think. And sort of like, you know, keeping on top of your game, sort of in that kind of world. And every time I'm in dreams, it's like, you know, there's always some kind of a challenge. You know what I mean? It never seems to be easy going. But so yeah. But you know, the funny thing as well is that every time you dream or even have a creative thought, you get your brain creates DMT. You know, a lot of people think it only happens when you die, but it's actually something that your body's constantly creating inside your brain. Then it's just in tiny doses. That's what, you know, what thoughts are kind of consist of to some degree. Wow. So like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to promote drugs or anything like that, but that sort of stuff, if you want to get into dreams, that's kind of like, you know, a substance out there that's a way of getting you into learning more about it. I'm sure, like, if you did a lot of that stuff, not a lot of it, but the right amount or whatever, you could tap into your dreams a little bit better when you're just sober, you know what I mean?
Definitely, man. It's funny that you mentioned DMT like that, because I literally just watched the DMT, the Spirit Molecule documentary, and I'd been wanting to watch it for a while. I'd heard a lot of people talking about it and stuff, and I kind of just wanted to dive into it a little bit, and that's crazy.
The irony of that drug is the fact that, like, sure, you can make it and you can smoke it, but you can also make it without having to smoke it, because your brain makes it. So that's in a way like what them yogis and all that stuff they tap into when they have like sheer amounts of DMT go through their, you know, brain and their body when they achieve super high sort of, you know, consciousness through whatever yoga or through meditation or you know, whatever you can do to get it through kung fu or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. Surfing, a lot of people get it, you know, that rush, same sort of vibe. So it's like, you know, you could smoke it and you can take it further, or you can sort of create it yourself.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Definitely. That's crazy. It's right in the pineal gland inside our brain, and it's there. And and another thing, it's just not talked about too much, and not many people know about it because it's kind of shunned upon as part of the whole psychedelic community. If you can, a little bit, because you've experienced, going to different countries across the world, traveling, making the kind of music that you do, I'm sure you run into crowds like trance crowds, dubstep crowds, stuff like that, where the drug culture, chemicals and psychedelics and stuff is really, prominent in there. Can you speak on that, your experiences traveling around and seeing that, and what the impact is in a positive way and a negative way?
Okay, well, to me, like, at the end of the day, I believe, everyone it's their right to take whatever they want, and whether they want to ruin themselves on it or whether they want to have an enlightening experience, it's their choice, Everybody's, everyone has a hard time going through life. We all suffering constantly, so if you want to try it, do it. But if you go into it thinking it's going to make your life better with the wrong intentions, it's never going to work out for you. You just have to have, pure intentions and actually respect whatever drug it is you're taking. I find weed is so underrated as far as a powerful drug. I get really, sometimes I've had such crazy whitey experience. You know what a whitey is?
No, what do you mean by that?
When you OD on weed.
OD on weed?
Yeah, like you go all white and you feel revolting, and it's just the worst thing ever to happen to you in your whole...
I've had that happen once in high school.
That's the worst thing to possibly do ever.
And I was sick to my stomach.
But anyway, so I went off track. But at the end of the day, I find people like, at the different clubs and stuff and taking drugs... I think it's great because it helps you see a side of your personality that you don't normally tap into. At the end of the day, that's what they all do. But you got to take it in moderation. You also got to understand, like, alcohol is a drug that everyone takes constantly, and that is the one that ruins every single drug. I don't think there's one drug in the world that alcohol makes better. It always makes it a little bit worse. You don't notice it as much. Like, alcohol will just take you out of whatever trip or, whatever you ecstasy or whatever you're taking. It'll take you out of it and make you just a bit kind of sober. Whereas if, it just kind of doesn't really do much. So I don't drink at all. I'm not trying to tell everyone not to drink, but I enjoy alcohol for other purposes. I don't want to get shit-faced off it. I enjoy it, ethanol for other things. It's a way of, you can use it like, in food or whatever. But anyway, yeah, so I think that personally the drug culture is awesome, but at the same time, you just got to respect every time. Just say to yourself, this is going to be good, and you thank it, and you don't take the piss, basically.
Definitely. That's very good advice. I appreciate you talking about that, because some people, they're afraid to let people know about that, or that they might have experienced some of those things in the past, for fear of what other people will think. But I know you, as someone who really puts yourself out there in your music, you're able to take that part of you and that side of you and really project it. So that's great. And I think that what you're saying is true. Like, what the drugs do is basically allow you to see another side of your personality, and maybe to break down parts of your personality, such as like the ego that's there all the time constantly, and get you into a more humbler place where you can, think about thoughts like maybe bettering the planet a little bit.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly right.
That's good, man. Definitely. Another thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, we've got a lot of musicians out there that listen to the radio show here. What are some of the things that you can let our listeners know about that you've experienced, doing the music that you do? What are some of the key ingredients to, becoming successful and getting out there and just relentlessly touring? I know one of the things is that you're going to say is probably just getting out there, because you are one to just travel and put yourself in front of people. And I think that's key. But if you can just let the people know a little bit more about, what it's taken the journey along to get to where you're at right now, DubFX.
Well, the most important thing, I think, is to be flexible. You don't want to go into whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's music or whether it's anything. You don't want to go into it saying, this is what it's going to be like, this is what I'm going to do. And if something comes along that's from left field, you freak out, and then, you're like, oh, that's not right. That's the worst way to go into anything, because a lot of people, and you can do it in other ways, like saying, oh, I've just made this record, when should I release it? And you just think about it, and you plan, and you just kind of go into your own world. I believe the total opposite. Just trust in the universe. Whatever it is that you want to do, just start now. If you've got something that you're sitting on, start doing it now. Never stop. Everyone, it's not like someone's going to magically hear you and say, I'm going to make you a star. It's never going to happen. So you get out there and you do the shittest gigs you can possibly do. Even, you try and do the best ones, obviously, but, the crap ones that come along, you do them, and you do them with a smile on your face, and you sharpen your claws, and you become a warrior. You don't just sit around and go, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to do it. That's like, so street performing, obviously, is the easiest way, in my opinion, of going out and doing it. But, there are so many different ways, just putting yourself out there constantly and not showing off. It's not about showing off and say, look at me, look at me. I never, when I street and perform, I don't look people in the eye and kind of like try and rap at them and be like, yeah, look at my shit. Yeah, I don't do that. I know other rappers and performers who do that. They get right in your face, and it works when it's in a club in a big environment where like everyone's saying yeah, and you're controlling them and stuff. But on the street, it's a different vibe. You got to suck them in. And so I take, whenever I have my sunnies on, right, my sunglasses, and I'm street performing, people don't stand and watch. They don't know where I'm looking. They kind of like a little bit, where's he looking? Who's he looking at? Whereas when I take them off and I shut my eyes, because I always just shut my eyes when I perform, people see someone with their eyes shut, and they're pulled in automatically. They're like, well, this guy's not judging me, he's not looking at me, whatever. And they come in close, and then they start listening to the music. And then I kind of just go into my own world, but I put it all out there, and I try to be as expressive as possible. And I only learn how to do that by just starting from scratch. And when I started using a loop station, I had it for about a month. I played maybe 2 or 3 loops in my room, and then I was like, screw this, I don't know what to do. So I went out into the street and said, I'm just going to have to make something up. And it forced me, and at first I was pretty crap, but then I learned what stuff was good. So, for anyone, I can't really say, how you can get out there on a social network kind of view, because at the end of the day, all I know is how I did it. And the way I did it was I just put myself out there on the street and just endlessly toured, traveled in a van, and got out there, sold as many CDs as I could in every city. And then people just, when people like it and they're sucked in and they watch it and they buy an album and they see someone and they feel it, they'll buy a record, and then I'll tell someone about it, and then they'll maybe even stop. They might even film you and put it on YouTube. I never put one video of myself on YouTube. I just put myself out there. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, man. That was so amazingly put. All that stuff that you said, definitely. Like, you got to just go out there and do it. You can't sit around and wait for that person to come along and say they're going to sign you for $1 million or something, which is what a lot of people have this dream and this vision in their head about. You just got to go out there and do it. And that's what you did, man. It's definitely showing. But I wanted to ask also, because you said social media, like you're not on that tip too much. You didn't put any of these videos up on YouTube, yet you have millions and millions of views on YouTube. You know what I mean? What has that been like for you, having the social media in the industry? Do you just kind of like not really pay attention to it much? Are you on Twitter at all, or on Facebook, or do you just kind of like leave that aside for your management and just kind of focus more on the music and meeting people personally?
Okay, well, Cade definitely does most of the social media in terms of organizing and getting it all together. I do actually respond to all the Facebook messages on the WFX fans, right? I try. It's like if I leave it for 4 days, then I've got like 50 that I have to go through.
It's impossible. But, it's hard to keep up with all of it, for sure.
Yeah, man, and it just keeps going and going and going. And you reply to one person, they reply straight back because they're on their phone, and then you're like trying to get through like 20 messages, and everyone's just like having this conversation with you, like, yeah. It's like clogs up the spam box. It's pretty funny. But, yeah, look, I mean, as far as it was something that, like, we started all these channels and we got them all going, and Cade spent a lot of time just putting a site together, which kind of brings it all together. But at the end of the day, I think, the biggest thing was the fact that the YouTube video that Ben Dowden put up, he filmed me and he put it up, it kind of got a little bit of... It went viral because in Kiev, in Ukraine, some promoters found it, and they're like, hey, we want to bring you to Ukraine to do a show. And I only had about 2,000 views on Love Someone. And they're like, we want to bring you out here. And I'm like, oh, sure, why not? They're like, we'll give you €500. I'm like, that sounds great. So I flew out there, and this show, and what they did was they promoted it so well within their community that I got like 20,000 hits within 2 weeks just building up to the concert.
Wow.
Right? It just went boom. And then it spread all over Eastern Europe, and it was like, it got to 1 million views like within a year or something, but it went really slow, but at the same time, it was kind of grew at a really organic pace and spread around, and now it's just kind of started as a snowflake, turned into a snowball, and now it's like an avalanche, and it's, you know, we're turning into one anyway. And it's like, the thing is, that's another thing, people kind of, they hold back on things because they're like, I need 50 million views on my YouTube on my thing. And it's like, well, it's going to get bang if it's a cat doing a dance, maybe. But like, if it's music and it's art and you're trying to say something, it's going to happen slowly, and you just got to wait, like, let it happen. And the other thing, and this is the other thing I want to stress on, my videos do have quite a lot of views compared to some other loop artists. But I believe that's not because my music is any better. I believe that it's also the fact that I spent 4 years street performing all over Europe, all over, you know, especially in Amsterdam. A lot of Americans and Canadians who go to Amsterdam, they saw me, and it kind of, that built up a fan base in America just from Amsterdam and just being on the street. And then as soon as that video kind of went blam and viral and people started passing it around, people who already seen me in the street were like, yeah, I've seen this, and they pass it to, they really get excited about it, you know, and pushed it. So I think my views kind of went up as well because of all the hard work and all the, just, I went street performing 4 days a week for like 4 years before that, you know, I Love Someone came on.
And that's how you make it happen. That's how you make it happen. You don't sit around 4 days for every single week for 4 years. That's how you become Dub FX. People listen, trust me. Wow.
It's pretty easy, actually, and it's tough, but it's easy. It's like,
the ingredients are there.
Say what?
The ingredients are there. Just got to bake it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, definitely. No, that's exciting to hear. Just that story about you just going out there and doing it and how that video picked up. I remember I think it was one of the first tracks that I heard from you, and instantly I grabbed it, downloaded it onto my phone. I was listening to it like every single day on repeat, and it really connected me. And it was actually something that my partner had shown me at the time and kind of like introduced me to you because she had been listening to you for a little bit. And I was just like, wow, like this is amazing. And then I just started going on that share tip. I remember hitting up Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Check this guy out. And then you came and performed in Toronto. I was like, I got to get all my friends, come check this out. And that's how it builds, definitely, is just like slowly the groundwork. Every time, you know, you're out there in a different city, you know, performing in front of somebody, you never know who that is. And they're just going to continue that ripple effect and just passing it along to another person and all of a sudden you're where you are now. So it's cool, man.
And the other thing as well that you should stress as well, that you learn when you street perform. If you don't want to be a singer or whatever, you want to be a lead instrument of some sort, and you go out in the street, you learn how to deliver whatever it is you're doing with conviction, because you get to a point where you become so confident of just being in the street and making music. You don't care whether anyone's listening anymore. You just want to get it good, and you you're just in the moment. You get into the Tao, you know, as the Japanese would say, and it's like you just get in that zone. And people they feel it. That's the thing, that excitement that you had when you saw that video. You're seeing conviction coming from me when I'm singing. I'm not trying to talk about myself or nothing, but I learned that just by doing it on the street. When I was in a band for like 7 years before WSX, and, you know, I was wondering, why haven't I got a record deal? And when I look back, I wasn't singing with the right conviction. I didn't really know what I was even singing about. I was just making noise, you know, to some degree. And going out on the street taught me really just to put a lot of energy into what I say and to really finish every word off properly so that it hits people. And, you know, I'm still learning, I'm still trying to get better at it, but, you know, it's something that you can only do by performing lots, and being on the street helps.
Definitely. I think something that you said there was really key is once you got into that zone and that place of not caring what other people think. And that's so key for musicians and just any person in general when you're walking the streets and doing your thing, is to not so much get consumed in other people's thoughts and other people's BS. Is just to be in your own space and you know, love yourself, like love someone, love yourself, you know what I mean? Be in that space, and that's where, you know, your creative energy is really going to shine for people to pick up.
You nailed it. You got very good articulation, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, but I'm a hip-hop MC myself, so I talk a lot on the mic. It's my thing. But you too, man. And inspirational stuff, for sure. This conversation has been really amazing for me.
Cheers, brother. It's fun.
For sure. We'll definitely have to connect again very soon. This, as I said, this conversation has been fun, amazing, very enlightening. It's been good, and much respect.
You want me to email you a tune? How long are you on the air for? How much longer are you on for?
I'm on for about 25 minutes more. So if you got new stuff off your Theory of Harmony or something, you'd send it on to me, and I'll play it for the people.
Okay, I'll send you something now.
Awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, people, definitely go and check it out. He did the pledge. Oh yeah, that was the one other thing I wanted to talk to them about. The pledge thing that you just did for the Theory of Harmony, the funding drive. Tell artists a little bit about, how important that was in creating the funding for your project and getting people excited about it and stuff like that, like doing the online pledging for your album.
Well, it was really fun, actually, more than anything, trying something completely different, obviously I've made all my cash up to now just on the street and selling it like that, but I've been doing so many shows and I never got time to go into the studio. So, having this time to go in the studio and just sort of, to some degree, this cash is helping me sort of live while I'm not on the road and all that stuff, but more so than anything, I've got a studio at home and I can do things pretty, I can do it really quickly on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't convince anyone that I need all this money to make an album because everyone's just going to be like, well, you can just do it in 3 seconds, which I can. But I wanted to make something that was a double. It was stuff that I do live and also stuff that I really enjoy. Things that, because when I make live music, I do a lot of drum and bass. And at the end of the set, using a few samples as well as the loop stuff. So I got to really experiment on making some really fat samples that I could actually drop live in my set.
Nice.
And so I'm just sending you a Dropbox link now. There you go. This tune is... What kind of music do you normally play on a show?
Usually, it's a hip-hop radio show, so lots of hip-hop stuff, but your music, it kind of, blends in that genre, too, because you got a little bit of hip-hop flavor to you. You rap and sing, so, yeah. Exactly.
Well, yeah, cool. All right, sweet. Well, I've just sent you a drum and bass tune.
Hey, that works, man. It's all good. We play them all.
All right, work it. There you go. Well, this tune, by the way, isn't the final master. This is just my export, which I just kind of made. The actual main version will be out on the 1st of December. Someone's knocking at my door. Kato? There you go. Just doing an interview, Kato. Do you want to say something? Here you go. Hold on. I'll pass you mine.
Yeah, man. Toss one.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, interview people.
Hey. It's Robbie G, man. I'm from Guelph, Ontario, Canada. How are you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Definitely an excellent interview there with Dub FX. Were you just at the show with him?
Yeah, just at the show. Oh, hold on, people gripping it. I'm just going to hand it back.
That was Kato. He's off. Get to sleep now.
All right. Well, we'll say rest. Have a good sleep there, Kato.
Have a brother. Yeah, sweet ass, man. Cool. Have a good night.
All right. Much respect. Thank you so much for doing the interview with us here. And you know what I mean. We'll definitely catch back up again. I'll play this new record that you sent me here, and we'll keep it rocking for you.
Cheers, brother. Take it easy.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Peace.